Hi, guys. My name is Mandy, and I am a writer and a career coach. And I talk about how to bring more creativity and joy into your life. In today's episode, we're going to go through page by page part 3 of the Should I Quit journal. So, part 3 is really about planning this graceful exit for yourself. It really is about going through kind of a logistical checklist of, okay, this is it. Like, if I'm really leaving, let's make sure that I have all my ducks in a row. Like, let's make sure that I have everything that I need. Okay, so the page that we're starting with is page 18, and this is on timing. Okay, so timing is important because oftentimes when I would work with my private clients, I would ask them, okay, so you want to leave, all right, you're sure. Who are you going to submit your resignation to? And they're like, I don't know, because actually I don't have a boss right now. That's part of the reason why I want to leave. And so I don't know if it would be like this like person that I diagonally report to, or if it would be my boss's boss, like my old boss's boss. Like, I don't know. So one of the first question is when you'd like to give notice. I want you to actually pick a date. Okay. The more specific we can be, the more likely we are to actually make a change. Okay, so when are you giving notice and who are you giving notice to? Like their name and their title. Okay, then there's a section dedicated to before I go, I'd like to take care of the following. So this is a checklist for you. So these can be emotional things. These can be like, I want to have a coffee or a conversation with my favorite colleagues. This can be, I want to make sure that I grab the information that I need, right? That's my personal information on this computer, right? This can be anything that you want, housekeeping stuff, organizational stuff. This is a place for you to write that down, okay? The last thing on this page is I want you to think about possible objections. So you're leaving, you're ready to make a change, right? Let's say you either have an offer in hand or you're going to take a bit of a sabbatical. Whatever your situation is, people will likely object to your leaving, meaning there will be resistance. They will say things like, oh, are you sure you can't stay? Right? They will try to beg, borrow, steal you to stay. They will counteroffer. They will obfuscate. They will be like, okay, great, I hear you, but give me some time because I have to talk to so and so. They will delay, right? So I want you to think about all of the possible challenges and objections that you might face as you get ready to leave. And then I want you to proactively think about what you would do in each of those scenarios. We want to have clean endings and clean beginnings. Part of this, thinking about like, okay, what do I have to do? What are the challenges that I'm going to face? How can I prepare for that? This is about cleaning up your side of the street and making sure that you have a clean ending, that there are no untied strings. The reason for that is if you leave in a messy state, that energetically actually follows you. Okay? This next page is called my Financial Snapshot. I want you to get comfortable with understanding your own money. Where is it? How much do you have? How much do you spend? How much do you earn? Okay? So this first part is just an inventory. Now you can write in this worksheet, you can do it in a Excel spreadsheet or a Google sheet, whatever you're most comfortable with. But here are the main beats that we're going to hit, okay? The first one is you're just going to write down your bank account balance. This can be from multiple bank accounts or just the number, the total number of cash on hand. Next, you're going to write any investments or assets that you have. So if you own any stocks, if you invest in any funds, okay, write that here. On the left-hand column, we're going to take stock of our monthly income. So this is your paycheck. This is any side hustles you have. This is babysitting. This is walking people's dogs. Like, this is literally any money that hits your bank account goes on the left-hand side, okay? Then you're going to just line by line go through, and then you're going to add them up at the bottom. On the right-hand column, this is your expenses. Now, I've given some prompts. Okay, so your rent or your mortgage, how much you pay for utilities like your water, your electricity, your cell phone, your subscriptions, things like Netflix, Disney Plus, your gym membership, your car payments, if any, student loans, if any, credit card debt, if any, how much you spend on groceries, how much you spend on restaurants, okay? I find that a good way to get this information is I just go to my credit card or your bank account, right? And you can actually download all of the past month's transactions and it'll be in a spreadsheet for you. I like to download probably at least 2 to 3 months of past spending so that I can get an idea. You start to look for patterns and averages. So you start to look like, okay, well, November I spent more because it was Thanksgiving and so I was buying, I was hosting and so the grocery bill was a little higher. September, grocery bill was a little bit lower. So you're going to start to take the average of those two and you're just going to get ballpark numbers. Okay? You're going to put those ballpark numbers here and you're going to add them up. Just so on one page you can start to see how much am I making and how much am I spending. This does not have to be perfect. In fact, it fluctuates every month naturally. It just does, depending on if you're traveling, if you're more in a savings mode, like it's gonna fluctuate. But overall, you want to have a general snapshot. Okay, this is important because what we want to do is we want to take fear from something that's really general to something that's more specific and rooted in reality. So a fear might be, oh my God, I can't leave. I can't make a change to my life because of money. Just money in general. The open, drippy claws, fangs of money, right? I'm just scared of the money, okay? When you have it in actual numbers, in dollars and cents on the page, it goes from, I just can't because of the money, and then shutting down, to, well, it looks like right now, based on my current financial situation, I'm only saving $500 a month. And if my income goes down, then that means I'm going to have to go into my savings and that I have this much in my savings. So therefore, I can probably only last 3 months. Okay? That's a concrete fear. I would so much rather you live in concrete fear and be like, no, I'm going to be okay, but I'll only be okay for 3 months. Right? And I would feel more comfortable if I had maybe a 4-month buffer, a 5-month buffer. So therefore, what do I need to do in order to get there? Okay, we want to be in an action state where we're basing our fears on a specific reality and then acting accordingly. Okay, so that's why these two questions at the bottom, they come in, because I want you to understand that you have control, you have power. So these are levers. Okay, these are levers. So the first question is, if I wanted to make an extra $500, how would I do it? How would I do it? I love to ask this question, even to people who are like, I'm not a side hustle type of person. I just like to ask the question because then it just opens you up. It opens you up to be like, yeah, if I had to make $500, if someone was like, you got to do it, January, you've got to do it. You've got to make $500 more. How would I do it? Would I ask for a raise? Would I literally just start mowing my neighbor's lawn? Like, would I, take on a part-time barista job? Like, what would I do? Okay. And then similarly with expenses, I ask you, if you had to trim your expenses by $250, how would you do it? Just what would you cut? I do this all the time. I'm like, actually, I don't need my Hulu subscription. We have to get this precise. We have to. This is how money works. Money works through precision. By looking at it. I know it's uncomfortable. Listen, I know. Sometimes I open up that credit card and I'm like, oh, I can't look at it. Okay? It is uncomfortable. But money works through mastery and through precision by looking at the numbers. By actually connecting the numbers to your life and being like, do I need this random ass subscription? Oh, it looks like I spent $600 on groceries. What did I actually buy? Do I need those things? Are there ways that I could trim that? Right? Like, I had a $10 a month Planet Fitness membership. And then at the same time, I was starting to do CrossFit. And in my mind, I was like, well, it's only $10 a month. But then I was like, no, Mandy, because you don't actually go to Planet Fitness anymore. And that $10 a month times 12 is $120. So yeah, it's a pain in the butt to have to like go in there and be like, hi, I'd like to cancel my membership. But it's also like, that's $120. Do you see what I'm saying? You have to get specific. The next thing that we're going to cover is money scenarios. So this is a further exploration into your relationship with money. Okay. What I've listed here are 4 different scenarios. Some might apply to you. Some may be absolutely left field and you're like, this will never happen to me. It's not relevant. Read them through. Do all of them. Or if you're gravitated towards one of them, do one of them. Okay. These are just 4 common life scenarios that might happen to you. And I just want you to start thinking about levers, thinking about, okay, if I wanted to accomplish this goal, then how would I do it? What changes would I need to make? Where does your brain automatically go? Okay, this is really about understanding yourself and understanding your own needs. Okay, scenario number 1 is you're taking a break. So imagine you're so burned out that you're finally ready to take a 6-month sabbatical to travel, recharge, and relax. What would 6 months of your expenses be? Okay, you're not making any money during the 6-month period. How much do you have to save in order to do this? 6 months. Okay. Scenario number 2 is a little bit more urgent, and this is called I'm just over it. So you've been at your job, you are pretty sure it's quite toxic. You're ready to leave. You've been there for 2 years. It's so bad that you're like, I don't even have another job lined up. Like, I just have to leave. Okay. So what does 3 months of emergency expenses look like for you? Like if you had to go into lean mode where you're like, I don't have anything lined up, but I can't, literally, emotionally, physically cannot take it anymore. I have to leave. What does a 3-month expense look like for you? Or what does a 6-month expense look like for you? Okay. Scenario 3 is called I'll take the pay cut. And so I want you to imagine that you are in a fairly well-paid job, but you're realizing like it's really not a fit. You want to do something else. You actually know what that something else would be, but that would require a 30% pay cut. Okay, so 30% pay cut to your salary. What does that look like for you? What adjustments do you have to make in order to make that work? Okay, just go through the mental exercise. What would that have to be? Okay, scenario 4 is called I'm going to start my own thing. Okay? So you've worked in corporate for a few years and now you're like, okay, I have an idea, I have a plan. I've started to play around with it a little bit. Like, this is what I want to do. I want to take the leap. Okay? But before you make the move, you would like to save at least 6 months of funds, cushion, emergency fund. So because you are an entrepreneur and you also are into side hustles, I want you to think about like, what are the side hustles that you're going to take to make more cash, and what expenses can you cut? Because if you're going to go into this startup world that you're going to have to be in lean mode. So what are the expenses, and then what are the side hustles that you're going to do? Okay. Page 21, this is called My Next Job. And this is really about creating a vision for yourself and manifesting for yourself what you want next. This is a series of 5 questions, and I'm just going to read them here. First question is, what do you not want in your next job? Sometimes it's easier for us to look at our current situation or past situations and actually just think of like, okay, but what are some of the things that you're like, I don't want to do that again. I don't want that for my life. Next question is, you then take those insights and you answer the question, what do you want? So I want you to describe what you're looking for in your next job. Question 3 is, where do you see yourself in the next 6 months? Where do you see yourself going? Question 4 is, how do you want to feel at work? I want to feel empowered. I want to feel connected. I want to feel creative. I want to feel chill. I want to feel myself. I want to feel challenged, stimulated. I want to feel fun. Okay, what do you want to feel? And lastly, what relationship do you want with work? We want to think about our jobs as more than just something we do, some 9 to 5. We actually have a relationship with our work. What do you want to put into it? What do you want to get out of it? We think about this as a living, breathing thing. It is a relationship. What kind of relationship do you want to have with your job? Page 22 is called My Network. The reason for this page is because we do not accomplish goals alone. We create support systems, we lean on people, we ask for help. This is very difficult for people, especially if you are more type A personality, you are very effective as a person, you are a high performer. It can be very difficult to let people in on our plans and to ask for help. You're not going to ask everybody for help. What this page does is it helps you determine who is in my inner circle, who do I trust, and who do I know that I've already built a relationship with that I can leverage in this job search. Okay? So first part is you're going to make a list of who do I trust? Who do I like and who do I trust? Like and trust is very important because we do not ask people for help that we do not like. There are plenty of powerful people in your life that you do not like. They probably will not be or should not be part of your job search. Why? Because a job search is an extremely vulnerable moment. You are in a state of want. You are in a state of desiring something that you do not have. Now, a lot of people, if they're not skilled in the emotional nuance of providing support to you, are just going to be very good at pointing out, oh yeah, these are the things you don't have. And you'll be like, damn, I didn't, okay, right? When we are vulnerable, when we ask for help, we expose ourselves. And we have to be careful with who we trust to let in. I don't say this to scare you. I just say that not everybody is in a mental space to provide you with the care and support that you deserve. Okay, so the first step is that it's up to you to determine, using my own experience, using my own knowledge, who do I feel I could bring into this that is going to respect me and is going to support me. And you would be surprised. I mean, sometimes your best friends are going to be there for you, but sometimes it's like people that are outside of your circle who come in and provide a lot of help, and you're like, wow, that I didn't even expect you to be so kind. And sometimes kindness comes from places you wouldn't expect. Okay? So we're going to also write down your inner circle. So there's only room for like 3 to 4 people, okay? But I want you to write down who are your ride or dies. And I want you to really think about historically who has showed up for you, who has supported you, who has really seen you for not just who you are, but for who you can be, who has seen you for your potential. Okay, and then we're going to widen it a little bit. We're going to think about, okay, let's think about school. Let's think about activities. Let's think about, extracurriculars. Let's think about places I hang out. Let's think about neighbors. Let's think about people that are in my extended circle. Who do I know? Who do I like? Who could I possibly talk to about this? All right, so you're going to write, this is just a chart, and you're going to write their name, you're going to write their relationship, and any notes that you have. This is just about taking stock of who's going to be on your team. Page 23, target companies. We do this because I want you to be in the driver's seat of your own life plan. Oftentimes people will say, well, I had someone tap me on the shoulder, I had a recruiter reach out, or this job just dropped into my lap, and so I don't know what I want. I don't know. I just happened to be good at this thing, and then I kept being good at it. I haven't ever actually had to look for a job. I have to tell you that as a coach, when I hear that, first off, I'm excited for you because that's awesome. Okay. But also, that's where I really step it up. That's when I'm like, So if you haven't had to do this work, then we're going to do the work, because there's something different about just having something fall into your lap versus choosing something and being like, This is, I think, what I want. Okay, so we practice that here. So we ask ourselves these questions. What kind of culture am I looking for? I want to be somewhere that's collaborative. I want to be somewhere where they just leave me alone. I want to be somewhere where they're, work hard, play hard. I don't even know if people want that anymore, but that's something people used to say. What kind of people do you want to work with? I want to be around people who are really smart. I want to be around people who are really warm. I want to be around people who are just nice. I just want to be around nice people, okay? Then we're going to think about industry and role. What industries are you interested in? And this is maybe your current industry, or maybe you're like, I can never do that again. I'm so over it. And also what role. Okay, so the role is like what you do, and the industry is like what context it's in. Okay? We're also going to write down here, deal breakers, red flags, absolutely not. This is a recognition of past trauma. This is a recognition of these are things that I've had to deal with. These are things that have honestly burned me or hurt me before. I'm going to watch out for that. Okay, this requires a lot of self-awareness. I'm going to watch out for this. I'm going to try to avoid this. Everybody has a siren call. Everybody has something where they're like, where they know it's not really good for them, but you're good at it. And then, so you're like, oh, I really want to go into nonprofit because it's like mission-based. Okay. But then a company comes and they're like, hi, we're absolutely not mission-based, but we're going to pay you a ton of money. And then you're like, well, I don't know. I mean, maybe, So you have to know yourself. You have to know what you truly want. You have to know what is a deal breaker for you. I mean, if you have had 3 toxic micromanaging bosses in a row, maybe that's a deal breaker for you. You got to think about also, why did you leave your past jobs? Let's not repeat those mistakes. Okay? Let's make sure that the industry is a fit for you. Let's make sure that the role is a fit for you. If you are super introverted and it drains you to be in front of clients all day, don't be a client manager, right? We try to find what's actually going to suit us. Not a past version of ourselves, but the current and the future. Finally, there's a section here for you to write down 6 target companies, the type of role, why, and who you know at those companies. This is not about putting companies on a pedestal. I do not believe that working at a fancy schmancy place is going to change you or make you happier or be a cure-all for your anxiety. It won't. Okay, if you think, oh, if I just go work at Google, if I just go get a job in AI, like I'm telling you, it's not going to be it. Okay, we don't do that. We don't see jobs as the sort of cure-all. What we do is we be intentional about these are the types of companies, these are specific companies that I'm actually interested in. Because why do we do that? And especially, if you have an artistic or creative background, we do that because this is priming yourself. This is priming yourself to see opportunity. If you have written down 6 companies, all of a sudden your radar is on. Somebody mentions the company. You're like, oh my God, I actually had that on my little wish list that I didn't tell anybody about. Suddenly you're like, oh, can I talk to you about that actually? Right? So we're priming ourselves for success. Page 24, the job search funnel. This is actually a personal assessment of how you do in the job search process. So the job search process is typically into 3 stages. The first is you're getting all your ducks in a row. You're working on your resume. You're doing your LinkedIn. You're networking. You're coming up with your target companies. You're getting emotionally ready. Okay. Stage 2 is you are applying. You're actively applying. You're putting your hat in the ring. You're submitting applications. You're talking to people. You are getting referrals. You are then going through the interview process. Okay. Round 1, which is typically a screening interview, then an actual interview with a hiring manager, then a series of probably 2 or 3 more increasingly difficult interviews. Okay, these can be behavioral interviews, these can be technical if you are some sort of software engineer or programmer. Okay, Stage 3 is the offer stage, very close to the offer stage. This is your final round interview. This is your group presentation. This is your spend 20 minutes walking us through your portfolio. Okay, and this is where you're going to get your offer. This is where you're going to negotiate. This is where you're going to go back and forth. This is where you're going to establish your start date, all those sorts of things. So we look at this in 3 stages. Okay, the purpose of this page is for you to take stock of where you do really well and where you get stuck. Everybody has strengths and weaknesses. Some people are like natural talkers and they could like sail through, parts 1 and 2, right? Some people are a little more shy. They're like, I don't necessarily do great in like these interviews, but if you have me one-on-one with a hiring manager, I can typically do really well. Okay, so you're just going to take stock. So here are the questions. How far are you getting in the process? We look for bottlenecks, right? We look for, okay, so I'm making it to the second round interview. If you're making it to the second round interview, then I'm not even going to worry about your LinkedIn or your resume or any of these tactical things. I'm like, you're doing great. We don't have to change anything. Let's look at what's happening at the second round interview. Is it like the behavioral questions? Is it the technical questions? Like, where are you getting stuck? Versus if you're like, I'm not even getting a callback. Like, I've submitted 500 applications and I'm not hearing anything back. Then I'm like, okay, then we have to look at your application materials. We have to look at how you are appearing on the page. This is really about using our energy in the most effective way. I don't want you to waste your time. This is already such an energy sucking process. So if you can say, all right, I'm getting stuck here, I'm going to focus on this area, then that's great. Okay. Second question is, like I was saying, where are you getting stuck? Third and fourth questions are, what am I naturally good at in the interview process? Like, let yourself shine. Figure out, what are you naturally good at? And this is not a braggy exercise. This is also looking into the past and being like, how was I successful before? Was it because I like leaned on reaching out to previous coworkers who already know the quality of my work and then they vouched for me, and so that made the interview process easier? Like, figure out what worked in the past, replicate that. Okay, and then finally, what areas do I need to work on? Okay, and get really specific here. If you guys are noticing a pattern, doing well in your job search process is getting really specific and honest with all of the various parts, whether it's your money, whether it's your interview skills, like it's just getting specific. So for example, if you're saying the technical interviews are killing me, I want you to look even deeper into that and ask yourself why. What is it about that? And how do we remedy that? Is it a little more practice? I just can't bring myself to do these practice exercises. They're like the bane of my existence. I just don't want to do them. Okay. So that's your block. That's your blockage. Sit with that for a minute, but then come up with a plan to be like, okay, I think I'm going to just maybe I need a study partner. Maybe I need to work with someone whose expertise is technical interviews and then have them help me on this, drill me on this one thing. Maybe I need help. Like, how can I fix this? How can I solve this? Okay, that's the mindset. It's this curious mindset of, instead of taking everything so personally, which I know it's very easy to do because this is a very, it's a minefield of criticism, okay? But we just get curious. We just say, well, what are the like, if this were a puzzle, if this were a video game, how would I solve this? What do I have to hack in order to make it through? We are nearing the end. Page 25 and 26, this is the same page. It's called My Roadmap. We just do it in 2-week sprints. Okay, so a sprint is essentially just a specific time where you're focused on a thing. Okay, so for each 2-week period, what you're going to do is you're going to come up with like a theme for those 2 weeks. You're going to think about, what are my primary goals for this period, and then what are the secondary goals that are going to support that? What are some of the emotional and mental blocks that I might face in this process? Just being self-aware of this, like, may be the whole solution to the whole thing, okay? And then what are some positive mantras to keep me going? I've also included below here, this is like a streak counter for you, because what we're really doing is we're trying to build certain habits, right? We're trying to say, okay, I'm trying to go from point A to point B. In order to do that, I have to change my behavior. I have to go from someone who refuses to do XYZ to someone who actually enjoys doing it. How do I do that? What's the smallest step that I can take towards that goal, towards that action? And then how can I continually take those small steps day after day to actually create change? And finally, there's a reflections and memories section. You can write a little ditty to yourself. Okay. So that is part 3 of the Should I Quit journal. You can go back on YouTube and you can see part 1, part 2, part 3. Okay. You could have a piece of paper, write down all of your answers. Like I said, I also do offer this in a physical version that I create by myself. That's available on my website. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this is helpful, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!